Hello everyone, this is Delta, the team leader for Team Aurora, and, tonight, I should say, because it's like freaking 1 o'clock in the morning, 12:58, I would like to show you all the Fluffal deck profile of the Fluffal deck that helped me win the first, Chrome League. We did not record the first or the second Chrome League because they were both prototype Chrome Leagues, and also the second one didn't have much of a turnout, because the other members, I believe, one of them never brought her deck for the entirety of the Chrome League week, um, and it was just like really slow and really awkward, so that's why we didn't record that one. But we will be trying to record any of the other Chrome Leagues. Yeah, this Fluffal deck profile is probably not the one you would kind of want to copy, because it's not fully complete. There are chunks of combo pieces missing, or just like a few cards that are missing from any good combos. I want to tell you now that Fluffals are not meta, nor will they probably ever be meta. They're just decent at stomping some rogue decks, and by rogue I mean probably all the ones at school, because everyone feels the need to team up against me when I use this deck, because this is like my main. But to start the deck off with the Fluffal monster lineup, I run one Fluffal Bear. Normally you're supposed to run two, maybe three, but this is actually my first Fluffal I ever got, and I only have one copy because I feel I always end up getting my toy vendors back easily, and also I have another card later that lets me get Polly back from the graveyard, so Bear isn't needed as much for that. One Fluffal Leo. Decent attack, but he's absolutely terrible. The worst Fluffal of all by far. You can go into rank 4s with him, but I run a pure Frightfur extra deck. And so he will be replaced soon by Fluffal Wings, as well as another card, because I'm going to get 2 copies of Fluffal Wings. 2 copies of Dog. I wish I had 3 so much, but I only have 2. Amazing Searcher, searches any Fluffal or Edgemp Sabers. Really, rank 4 plays if you want to run an Xyz engine. Sorry. 1700 hack, so good first turn beater if you need it. And so overall, Fluffal Dog is an amazing card that you should run at 3. Fluffal Owl, another card you should normally run at 2 or 3. Summon it, you fetch a Poly from your deck, and you can also pay 500 life points for this card to basically be a Poly. You don't need to tribute this card or anything though, or use this card for Fusion Summon. So that's really good in case you need to get to your polys, or you're out of polys and do not have factory in your hand. 2 copies of Fluffal Cat. These are I run just because of the Fluffal name, obviously, and also because they fetch poly back from the graveyard, so you can fusion summon using, say, Fluffal Cat and Edgemp Sabers to, I don't know, just say like use Cat, and freaking chain. Boom, you make a sheep. That polymerization that you used to a fusion summon sheep can be immediately brought back to your hand with Cat's effect. So that's why it's a really good card. I used to run like 3. I have like so many copies of it, but I downed it to 2 because it was getting kind of cloggy. I run 2 copies of Fluffal Rabbit. Again, used to run at 3, but then it got too cloggy. I like especially making a Sabertooth, because I can use Poly. Say I have, like, I don't know, Bear on the field, which I highly, like, Frightfur Bear, which I highly ever use at all. It was just my first Frightfur, so it means a lot to me. Say you use Bear, Rabbit, and Cat with polymerization. Cat adds Poly, and then Rabbit allows you to add Edgemp Sabers or any Fluffal back from your graveyard to your hand, so you can fetch that Cat back as well for later uses, so that's really good. Sheep, normally you should run 2 or 3. I have 1. When I say have, I mean I only own 1. But, really good first turn search with Dog if you have a Edgemp in your hand, or second turn if you have an Edgemp in your graveyard or anything, because you can bounce Dog back to your hand and summon, special summon the Edgemp, which can and it can be any edge instead of sabers, which is really good. And so that's the reason that it's really good. Fluffal Penguin. Mostly it's the draw engine of the deck, and also during your main phase, once per duel, you can special summon a Fluffal monster from your hand. So I guess if you I don't know, want to summon another penguin, you can go ahead and do that. But I only run one penguin for now until I get any more penguins. But yeah, and then also it's the draw effect. If it's used for a Frightfur Fusion summon, you draw 2 cards and discard 1. So it's like Graceful Charity, except you get 1 less card out of it. 2 edge jump chains. Normally you should run 3. I have 2. It attacks. Then you get to add another edge jump chain to your hand, and then when it's sent to the graveyard, no matter what, you get to add a Frightfur card, any Frightfur card from your deck to your hand, which could be Fusion, Factory, Frightfur Sanctuary, any of that stuff. And also, it's a good first turn face down. You put it down, your opponent doesn't know what it is. It's got a nice, decent 1800 wall for level 4. So it basically searches out your fusions most of the time you'll be looking for, or maybe a factory. 2 Edge Sabers, never run 3, it gets way too cloggy. And you can just bring it back by placing from your graveyard by placing a card on top of your deck. Edge Sabers can be used for any of the plays, including Sabretooth, Kraken, Daredevil, Tiger, you need it, Wolf, you need it, and Bear, you need it. So you need it for a few and can use it for other ones. So, that's basically the use of Edgem Sabers. 2 copies of Edgem Sop. This card actually isn't used very much, and I don't understand why. Not only do I have to use it for Leo, but also, you normal summon it, discard a Fluffal monster from your hand, you can draw 2 cards, and then place 1 card from your hand on either the top or the bottom of your deck. And so, it's a draw engine, but also can be used for, like, stuff like Kraken or Daredevil or even Sabretooth. 1 Tomahawk, you can get some nasty burn damage in, or you can, use its effect, send Chain to the graveyard, use Chain's effect from that, and also you got a free Edgimp Chain on the field for something like, Sheep. And also, it's got a nice 1800 attack, so there's that. And then the last 3 monsters aren't Fluffals or Edgimps. They are King of the Swamp, dump him for Poly, and he's any fusion material. Dark Hex Sealed Fusion, any fusion material, and also you can special summon a Dark Fusion monster from your extra deck, and Fusion Parasite if you he's any material, and if you special summon him, you can fusion summon using monsters you control, including this card. And so I don't know why why not many people run Parasite. I've seen people run Dark Hexial Fusion, Hexor himself, and Dual Generations runs Dark Hexial Fusion. But that is it for the monster lineup. Next, we got 3 copies of Polymerization. Obviously, it's a fusion-based deck. You will need 3 copies. Yeah, so don't really need to explain that. 3 copies of Toy Vendor. Discard 1 card, draw 1 card, reveal it. If it's a Fluffal monster, you can add it to your hand and special summon a monster from your hand. If it's not, say it's like Chain or something, you must discard the card if it's not a Fluffal monster. You can discard Chain, or heck, another Toy Vendor. Chain will let you search a Frightfur card, but my favorite thing is getting a Toy Vendor and then discarding Toy Vendor, either by discarding it with its first effect or drawing it from Toy Vendor and then having to discard it. Because when this card leaves the, I believe if it's sent to the graveyard at all, you can add Edgem Sabers or any Fluffal from your deck to your hand, including Dog or whatever, which is really good. Fusion Conscription, basically a spell version of Fusion Reserve, except you don't get Poly back. You cannot summon monsters with the name of the monster you added, and also you can get cards from your graveyard as well. So, say you have a Frightfur monster in your graveyard, you can reveal Sabretooth, and then add that Frightfur monster back to your extra deck, which is nice. 2 copies of MST, back row removal, simple as that. Dark Hole, I do not own Raigeki, I only have Dark Hole, and with Dark Hole being recently limited, I can only run 1. So, yeah, I got 1 copy of Dark Hole. I didn't have this during the first Chrome League, but I added it afterwards, because I was noticing that the opponent's field was getting swarmed with monsters, and I couldn't rely on my single Frightfur Tiger to destroy them all. Copy of Factory, infinite poly, basically, if you have fusion spell cards or polymerization in your graveyard, except for diffusion motion, because, yeah, there's that. So, and also, if it's destroyed, you can target a banished Frightfur Fusion, and add it back to your hand, which is always helpful. Copy of Frightfur Reborn, Monster Reborn for Frightfurs, which is really good, because Monster Reborn was recently banned, which I find to be actually really retarded. But also, it's basically an Octo as well, which I do not have. You can banish this card, target a banished Fluffal or Frightfur monster, and add it back to your graveyard. So Suture Rebirth, another card I'll be getting rid of soon. Target a Fluffal or Frightfur monster in your graveyard, special summon it, but its effects are negated. That is why I'm getting rid of it, is because of the negation. It's not always helpful unless you want to make a really quick Sabertooth and have a Frightfur in your graveyard. But mostly the Frightfurs rely on their effects, so it's not too good. So when I get wings, I will definitely take that card out. Flash Fusion, good if you have a, especially Kraken. You have Kraken and its materials in the field. Attack twice with Kraken. Say your opponent has 3 monsters in the field. Use Kraken's effect for 1. Attack twice with Kraken, and then attack with the materials. Play Flash Fusion. Create a Sabertooth. Bring back Kraken. Not only can you use its effect again, but also you can attack with it again twice. And so that's really nice. 2 copies of Frightfur Fusion. Never run 3, or in my opinion, because it gets way too cloggy at points. And also, it's only cards from your field or from your graveyard. And you do have to banish them. But yeah, it's a really nice card. Dog, please back off. Copy of Instant Fusion. Only 1. I only find it necessary to run 1. Let you summon sheep. I'll be right back. You pay 1,000 life points. You summon sheep, and then use poly or something of the like. Sheep normally wouldn't be able to attack, and also destroy during the end phase, because of instant fusion. But you summon Sabertooth with sheep as material, and then Sabertooth summons sheep back, and it can attack, and it is not destroyed during the end phase, which is really nice. A lot of people run 2 or even 3, which I find a really bad idea to do. But yeah, my opinion, only run then 1, maybe 2 if you really absolutely need it. On to the traps. Fluffal Crane. Never see anyone run this. It's when a Fluffal monster you control that's face up is destroyed by battle or card effect. And sent to the graveyard. I can target one of the destroyed monsters, add it to my hand, and then draw 1 card. So, mostly, I used to run 3 of this, which is a really bad idea. But I run 1 just in case one of my Fluffals is destroyed. Like, say I summon Dog, but I don't have Sheep anymore in my deck, and I add something else, and so they destroy Dog. I can add Dog back to my hand and draw 1 card. 2 copies of Frightfur March. Basically, Dark Bribe, except he has to target your Frightfur monster. But with no cost no cost. And also, say it's a really bad Frightfur monster you no longer have use for. Say it's like Bear, or you summoned a Wolf thinking you would win, but they countered it, and so you don't need Wolf anymore. You can summon something like Sabertooth, Kraken, Daredevil, or Chimera, by attributing said Frightfur monster that was targeted. I've only really used that effect like 2-3 times, but mostly it just negates the spell or trap or monster effect that targets a Frightfur monster, good against Clearwing. I have learned that over time. 2 copies of Designer Frightfur. I would run 3, but I don't find it that necessary. You target an Edge Imp or Fluffal in your graveyard. Special summon it can be used as a Frightfur monster for a fusion summon. Good for summoning Sabertooth. and I guess Chimera if you absolutely want to summon Chimera, even though Chimera is not too good these days. But yeah. So I'm going to separate these spells into traps. And then, so yeah. And then finally, 2 copies of Fusion Reserve. Not too recently, and by that I mean like a few days ago, I took out 1 Fusion Reserve because it was getting really cloggy and really annoying. And you only really need 2 with all the searching you're able to do anyway with this deck. Simple. Real fusion material. Reveal a fusion monster, add a material, and then you can add a poly from your graveyard to your hand. I like the last effect a lot. And also I can add something like dog to my hand. And that is it for the main deck. I got no side deck, so immediately onto the extra deck we go. I got copy of Bear. By the way, I have 1 copy of everything in here except for Sabretooth. I have 2 copies of. Um, um, Frightfur Bear. Its effect isn't that good, especially with all the pendulums nowadays. But it's my first Frightfur. It holds a place in my heart, and yeah, that's the reason that I run it. Also, I like it because it's a Frightfur. Wolf, my second ever Frightfur. You can tell from the damage on the edge. Got it from my first Fusion Enforcers pack. It's only really good for OTKs. I learned because its measly 2,000 attack value is not enough for it to stand up to really anything. Now even a level 4 could beat it. And hush! I'm sorry, my dog keeps freaking barking. It's really annoying. Copy of sheep. Normally you should run like 3, like I said. I only got 1 copy of each. Destroyed by battle or opponent's card effect. You can even nuke it yourself against an opponent's stronger monster, summon it back. And it gets 800 more attack, so that's really nice. And so you can do a lot of, you can get sheep really high up. Especially if you summon 2 Sabertooths and a Tiger. That is, so you have, 2 Sabertooths, Tiger, and sheep. That is 2,000 boost. So sheep would be at 4,000 already, and then you can like nuke it against any monster. Like if you had it on the field before and had it nuked against any other monster, that's basically an immediate takedown for something like Zark. Copy a Tiger. Normally you should run 3. But you can, you can only control 1 anyway. But literally, it's a field nuke. You can destroy a back row, pendulums, which is kind of just back row now in the Link format, as well as monsters. And all you really need is Edge of Sabers and then any amount of Fluffal monsters. And the amount you fusion summon with, it depends on how many cards you destroy. So yeah, really good card right there. And also all Frightfur monsters gain 300 attack for each Frightfur and Fluffal you control. Frightfur Leo. Not many people run him nowadays because of Kraken is a lot better of a choice. But I like Leo because he can destroy pesky, high attack monsters if your opponent has no protection for him, and deal damage equal to the attack. The only downside is that it can't attack. This card can't attack directly that turn. Copy of Chimera. Chimera is not that good at all now because you need to send the monster to the graveyard. It's like the same problem with the bear. But then again, if you attack with it, just like sheep, your opponent cannot activate cards and effects when it's attacking. I really use Chimera as a last resort if I have like 3 Frightfurs in my graveyard and a Frightfur Fusion in my hand. So, not much reason to run Chimera, but you can use that as the last resort. Copy of Daredevil, 3,000 beat or highest attack of any Frightfur. Deals 1,000 burn damage if you destroy a monster, and then when it's destroyed, you burn your opponent for 500 for each Fright from your graveyard, so it's an automatic 500 when he's destroyed. And all you really need is an Edge Imp and a Fluffal, so it's a generic summoning. Another generic summoner who has the exact opposite stats of Daredevil. Kraken, really good card when it came out. I was like almost screaming when I got it because how good it is. Once per turn, you can target a monster your opponent controls, with it face up or face down, and it doesn't destroy it, it sends it automatically to the graveyard, so if it's a pendulum, you send it to the graveyard, not the extra deck. But then the only downside is this card can't attack directly. This card can attack twice during each battle phase, and 2200 is nothing to laugh at that much, but if you boost it up with some other cards, it's really a force to be reckoned with. And once per turn, at the end of the battle phase of this card battled, you can change its defense position, 3000 defense wall, so that's really good. And the final thing is 2 copies of Sabretooth. 400 attack boost for all of your Frightfurs. It's not for each one like Tiger, but then it would be broken if it was. You can special summon the Frightfur that you use to summon it, or any Frightfur that's in your graveyard when you summon this. And my favorite part of this card, you summon it with 3 or more materials, which I nearly almost 99.9% of the time always end up doing. It is indestructible by battle or card effects, and so that is really, really good. So, that is it for my Fluffal deck profile. I really hope you all enjoyed it. I really enjoy making this video, and also I enjoy playing this deck. As said before, it is my main, and as seen in the Odd Eyes Performa Pal, or actually no, the Odd Eyes deck versus my Fluffal deck as the very first video of this channel. So, please tell me what you thought about this deck profile in the comments, or just about the deck in general. Like I said, it's not too complete yet, but once again, it's a force to be reckoned with, because at school, all of my friends feel the need to team up against me to go when I go against it, except for Chris, because he's probably one of my toughest matches to go against when he's not cheating or being a baby about the rules. And so, yeah, that's it, and I'll see you in the next one.